endless night. Fight to the top. Don't ever stop. Fight to the top. Give it all you got. Pain and glory on the floor. Warriors, we want some more. Heartbeats racing, time to fight. Show them all our endless night. Fight to the top. Don't ever stop. Fight to the top. Give it all you got. Be the best that you can be. Dreams become reality. Clinch and grapple, push your way. Win the night and seize the day.
Yo, what is this? Episode 29 of
29, baby.
Yeah, this is your favorite Muay Thai live stream. You know.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. We are we're talking, this is like a topic that I've heard in everywhere, but it's never really, I hear fighters complaining about promoters and what they should do and how they should do it, and coaches that never promoted, and what I've experienced is that a lot of these people don't have a real grasp on reality, on what these things actually cost, and logistically how they actually perform. A lot of these people think that this is like a freaking cash cow, which I always find hysterical to me. It's like always kind of like a funny when I hear that, like, look at all the people on the stands, like they must be killing it. Like,
Well, the other thing too, bro, is when they hear when they hear about like just their ideas, right? That everybody thinks that their ideas are so good, because they came from themselves, and the difference though is that when you're a little more sophisticated, like in business, and you've started some companies and failed at some companies, you actually learn, and especially from investors who see like 100 deals a month come across their desk of really, really good ideas, but they just well, they're not going to buy them until someone has proven they work. So like your good idea could be great, but it could fail in production. So it's definitely important to not think your idea is bigger or greater than it may be. So
and so I wanted to kind of go through. What's up, Brian? Brian's just joining us. He's having a little technical difficulty. I wanted to go through because I asked the public. I was like, what do you think? What do you think, our audience? What do you think promoters should be doing to improve the Muay Thai growth and development in the U.S.? Like, what do you think? And I got some interesting answers. And what I learned from these answers is that nobody here is a promoter that has answered it. They're good ideas, and they're ideas that we've tried to implement some of them. Some of them are just the kind of nonsense ideas. But we're going to go through them and kind of like, because I'm pretty sure the audience is like, well, yeah, that's what they should, that should be done. Like, why aren't they doing that? And I'm going to explain why it's not as easy as it sounds. It's kind of like, when you're president and, everybody in the stands are like, if I was president, and that's it. It's just that simple. And then they don't understand that simple idea has a ripple effect that would cause tons of turmoil, right? lot of chaos, a lot of implications that they don't really think through. And they think it's just really simple. I think it's, not, all these decisions have, affect billions of people. And so that all has to be taken into consideration. And so I see
it's like
Brandon
the billionaires pay their fair share, but they work their butt off to become a billionaire. And they're like, what do you mean? You have to look at it from everybody's perspective. To someone else, they're losing,
Right. And
Just
so
be clear.
you got to be
If you're
fair
a
to
billionaire,
everybody.
other people are working their butt off to give you billions. That's how that works.
You're sitting there.
But that's the
No billionaire
perspective,
worked
right?
their butt off.
Well, that's not true if they're first generation, right? That's a whole nother topic, but if you worked your butt off as a kid, you didn't come from money, you busted your butt to get where you're at. I mean, you worked for where you're at. And so if somebody tries to peel away your money, you're going to be like, wait a minute, why do I need to give it?
True enough. Let's I knew we were getting into
No, hey, but you got to talk about it, because this is like, that's a polar side that people think.
Microcosm, right? Like,
Yep.
So, let's take a look at it. I kind of had to have those answers loaded up proudly. And Brandon, you wanna pop it up on there? So, I posed the question on Instagram, and I always pose one every week. And this one was basically what we are discussing. What are some of the things promoters can do, right? And so I go, okay. First one is have a clear, uniform understanding of a scoring system, right? Let's go back here. And I'm going to pause that. Have a clear and uniform understanding of the scoring system. That's a good idea. If people would show up to the rules meeting and understand what they are, take the opportunities to actually learn the scoring system. Because a lot of people that say this don't actually mean it. If you really wanted to know and understand the scoring system, I know a lot of people that put on sanctioning bodies, put on seminars on, hey, come, I'll do it for free. I know Bob's done it here multiple times. Hey, there's a free seminar for you to sit here and have a clear understanding of how I teach the judges. So you better know how to win the game, right? What
I was
better
going to add to this, bro. Like, what if this was written a different way, right? What if this person was saying that the promoters need to have a clear and uniform understanding?
Actually, the promoters don't. The promoters don't. Believe it or not, promoters don't have to know the rules and because it's not our job. It's actually our job is exactly what the name is. Promote. We're trying to get people together. The sanctioning body and the athletes and the coaches' jobs are actually the people that need to understand the scoring system. So this answer doesn't really pertain to promoters.
That's why I wanted to make that point, because it depends on how they were writing this question. Were they talking about the sanctioning? Were they talking about the athletes? To me, this was about what can a promoter do to improve.
Correct.
What the funny thing about this is that we're unique in the fact that we do know and have a full understanding of the scoring system as promoters.
But here's why somebody might answer this question in that way, Brandon, is because in this country, a lot of times the promoters are the ones who are creating the scoring system.
Oh, that's true. The sanctioning bodies are the promoter.
So it depends on where and on the events you're used to competing.
But then that's the role of the sanctioning body again. If you are the sanctioning body and the promoter, if you are the sanctioning body, this pertains to you.
Yeah,
if you wrote the rules, this pertains to you. That's again, we've had this discussion about how that's a huge conflict of interest for a very big reason, right? And so now I wrote the rules and I'm financially vested. It's kind of like they shouldn't be together, right? Because I could write the rules that favor the promoter and don't really protect the athlete. And so, this rule, if you are the sanctioning body and the promoter, and that's a good point, then this pertains to you. You're still holding the hat of the sanctioning body. Now you're a sanctioning body, okay, this pertains to you. But if I'm just a promoter which we are, right? That's what we do. We don't sanction. We don't really write the rules. We mimic our rules according to the state of Arizona, according to the USMTA of Arizona, and we put them into our own rules, but we are not the actual enforcer of those rules, right? That's the sanctioning body's job, and that's why we hire them. So for this particular question, doesn't make sense for a promoter to answer it because they shouldn't have any part in it. Now, does it benefit a promoter if everybody understands the rules? Yeah, it really does. It makes our job a lot easier, you know, in the realistic sense of the word. Like, in sense, like I'm all for, and we're doing the combine. We're doing our own education to get people. We don't need to do these kind of things, but the more educated consumer we have, the better they are at playing the game, and we have a higher quality of competition, et cetera, right? So moving on, I think this question doesn't really pertain to promoters as much, but it is an important part. All right, so the next one is full rules only. So obviously it's a very oversimplification. What is full rules only, right? And, you know, full rules only, and I'm going to assume here because it wasn't explained well, is elbows, knees, clinching, the full rules. And there are a lot of definitions of full rules in the world. And what about if you're an amateur and getting knee to the face, right? Like there's a lot of different things that, you know, if I said, okay, everybody gets knee to the face, full rules in Thailand, you're getting hit to the back of the head.
What about legal groin shots in Thailand? That's
Full
perfectly
rules, they do it.
acceptable.
And they do it. And so, you know, this oversimplification answer, it doesn't really make sense, right? Like this is like kind of a silly response, right? Oh, full rules only. That's going to help us improve and help grow Muay Thai. I disagree, actually, highly, that full rules. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite. If you really want to develop and grow it, you start with something a little bit lesser so that people feel a little bit safer about competing. And it, you know, panders to the masses a little bit more than just have everybody fight full rules, knees to the face on your first fight, right?
And the same at your club and the same at your gym, right? If you bring everybody in and we're a fight gym and you're going to be sparring on day one, not everybody's going to be cool with that. But if they started learning some defense techniques, they learn how to block properly, then all of a sudden they can block, you know, and they're not so scared about
that
somebody.
skill set.
Yeah. So all of a sudden they develop.
Agreed. All right. So moving forward, I actually thought the opposite. Full rules only for everybody would probably slow down the sport and its growth. Let's see the next one. Score the fight as a whole like the Thais do. I mean, that would be nice. I think most judges here do that. The only people that they literally do point Muay Thai. They call it point Muay Thai. And it's basically their own sport. It's not Muay Thai. They call it point Muay Thai. They use the word Muay Thai because it's buzz, but it's actually not how the game is played. Not the game of Muay Thai. All right. If you're talking about sports and competition and games, like you are creating a whole new sport with a new rule set. That's just my opinion. I agree that that's how it should be done, but you know, it's just not being done that way. So
I would love to next time we can ask these folks like what state, at least if they don't want to put themselves on blast,
they're in,
where they're coming from. That might give us some
insight. That's a good point. That would be kind of fun.
The other side of that is gambling. That does not happen here. That happens in Thailand. So when you're making that comparison, you know, you also want to think that there's another underbelly of how things are scored in Thailand.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they don't always get it right in Thailand either. So let's take a look here. This one is more events throughout the year overall over the country, west, east, south. Okay, again, these are one of those things that it's like, yeah, you know, and I want $1 million and a mansion, you know, but you know, these things are incredibly difficult, financially taxing, and you're not rewarded for this. We've done an East and a West. It was insanely hard and expensive. I mean, a lot of expense went to doing 2 shows in New York City. And we did really great shows. I was very proud of both tournaments that we produced in New York City. And they were incredibly difficult. They were incredibly expensive. I don't think we turned a profit. Pretty sure we lost a little. And we did it for, well, more than a little.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why we're not back.
I was gonna say something fun is why doesn't who posted this? Why don't you start an event in your backyard, and then when you prove the concept and it's profitable, then give it to us, and then we'll take over it after that.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things that, you know, yeah, that would be great. Like, you know, I wish for, you know, a unicorn that shits ice cream, you know, like it would be fantastic, you know, in theory. But the reality of that is it's near impossible in the state of Muay Thai right now. Now, we do have a lot of national tournaments in the US. We actually have a lot of events, more than I've ever seen in the history of the sport in the USA. Now, we do have East, West, South, North, whatever. We have them everywhere. Anywhere you go, there's fights, which is unheard of. Back in the day, you know, when I was a kid, there was only maybe a handful of shows a year, and they were all like in New York and some in Iowa and some in California, maybe a couple in Florida. There really wasn't a lot of shows nationally. And now, I mean, just the state of Arizona, we have one every damn week. It's insane. And so it's great, right? It's like a great problem. But and yeah, like the question really is, how do you have more events throughout a year all over the country? That is the question we're posing. What can a promoter do to get to that point? What is your suggestion, right? The goal is to do that, of course, for any promoter.
I can give everybody the suggestion that's needed to grow the sport is invite a friend to a show. If everybody right now who goes to a Muay Thai show invites one person, and that just keeps happening, right? You invite a person, next time there's double. They invite a person, next time there's double. And that exponential growth. So I would put that on the community. It's very much important for you to go out and sell other people on why they should spend money on a ticket to a Muay Thai event rather than something else.
I agree. I think my wife has brought like 3 people. Every time she goes to a show, she drags one of her friends that's never been to one. It's like what she does. And
we all know what happens. What happens?
And then they're like, "Holy shit! This is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life."
Yeah, that's right. They get bit with the bug. That's right.
That's right. And then they can't. I mean, one girl was like, "I was so scared because I thought it was gonna be blood splattered all over me," which I found hysterical. And then she came to the fights and she was like, "Oh, I didn't realize it wasn't as bloody as the TV meant it, you know, made it sound." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's not like it's not freaking a slaughterhouse." You know, it's Muay Thai. At one drop of blood, usually the fight's over.
I think Muay Thai is uniquely positioned. A lot of fight sports really want that female demographic to come in as spectators.
Yeah.
And I think this is a sport that if more women come to see it, it's not the blood, the guts, you know, all the stuff, you know, like you see in a lot of MMA, which maybe turns some people off, but it's actually more family friendly, I would say. In a lot of ways, something you can bring your family.
A lot of culture. There's a lot of respect.
Yep.
There's not a lot of that nonsense you see in MMA. So yeah, the question here is, how do we do this? How do we do this?
Yeah, more events will come.
A large base. You know, it goes back
to more spectators need to buy tickets. Otherwise, the way the money comes from this sport is through sponsorship. So the other side I would answer this question is, if you own a business and you have money coming in and you are not sponsoring a Muay Thai show and you care about this sport, you might want to go to your physician and get your head checked a little bit, because you should be sponsoring something that you care about, and
Right.
if more businesses will get in, and even small sponsorships, everything helps, get exposure, help the youth promotions, whatever that you can do, that also helps. So selling the tickets, having sponsorship dollars, and then later, obviously, TV and other deals will come.
Yeah. Agreed. So moving on. Let's go on to the next one. Okay. Not to favor fighters just because they know them. Now, this was an interesting answer.
Very
because
personal.
It was personal, and I
Mhm.
like that it came up. I love that it came up. You know why? Because it's not based on reality. We're not favoring fighters because we know them, and I don't know how that's possible to favor a fighter. But I'll tell you why a promoter will favor matching a fighter, and that's because they sell tickets. And it's really comes down to economics. And generally speaking, it's not usually favoring a fighter because they know them. In my experience, if any promoter is smart, I don't care if I know you. If you're coming in and you're selling 100 tickets, I'm making sure you're on the card one way or the other.
Yeah, who do you want to fight? Who do
Yeah,
you
if you
want
want to fight. And I know this. If you want to be favored as an athlete, sell tickets. It's that simple.
And if not tickets, maybe it's live streams too. Like if you
Right,
have a big following, hopefully your following actually wants to watch you, and you could sell maybe live streams with a promo code or something like that.
So explaining this situation here is promoters won't favor because they know them. They favor because they know they'll sell tickets. And that's where you're probably misunderstanding what's happening. Maybe you're showing up expecting everybody to kiss your ass, and you're not selling 5 tickets, and then all of a sudden they don't call you back. You know why? Because matching you is expensive. Every single athlete that competes costs the promoter money. And I remember doing the economics at our show, and every single athlete, for us to break even, for us to not leave with our asses, is, but I think it was like 35 tickets each athlete. So it was like
Yeah,
70.
we had like 15 bouts on the card.
Yeah, so it was like 70 tickets per fight, something like that.
And that was to walk away with 0.
That was to walk away with nothing.
even.
Pay
after 6 months
everybody
of work.
else. That's
Right.
to pay everybody else. Everybody else is getting paid.
Think about
You
that
get
for a
nothing.
minute, right? And so now you show up and you sell 10 and you're like, sorry, nobody bought it. And we're like, well, sorry, we're not going to call you fucking back.
Well, a lot of people are going to be offended at the fact that we're saying they need to sell tickets for them to get favor. They're going to be truly offended by that, because a lot of them are going to think, well, isn't that the promoter's job?
No, not at all. I mean, not where the sport's at today.
It's a 50-50, right?
Yeah, if the sport was in a different place where there was already an audience, there was already those things, and now you're just walking in and putting on a show and you do some social media, sure, that might make sense.
Here's where the promoter's job lies. They are there to promote you as an athlete. You as an athlete. They're giving you all the tools to sell the tickets. They're putting your face on a damn poster. They're promoting you, doing this and that, putting promo videos. God, I remember making those videos till 2 in the morning when we started Siam, just sitting there and getting videos from France and from fucking China, Japan, so fucking.
What about motion graphics too? Making them look real good. I mean,
we gave them all the tools, all the promotional, basically a promo kit for them to promote and sell tickets. And back in the day, that's kind of how it used to be, right? You promote the athlete becomes a name, and then they naturally sell tickets because they're so well known. And so, yeah, we're probably always going to favor the ticket sell. UFC favors all the ticket sellers for a reason, because they don't want to go broke. So every big promoter in the world does this exact thing, is they're going to favor fighters, but they're misunderstanding why. not because they know them, because they sell tickets.
I would want to
Now,
add
there's a
something else.
promoter out there, huh?
I want to
What was
add
that?
something else to delineate between amateur and pro here too, because on the, one thing that people might not know, we don't have a contract with an amateur. So as a promoter, what is in it for me to build you up as an amateur athlete so that you're going to go build your audience and then go fight on someone else's show?
True.
Why do I want to invest like that for you?
Right.
The only reason why would be if you brought the value that I'm also putting into you. So at the amateur level, I would just want to say that you need to bring value. And then if the promoter doesn't meet your value with what you bring, you now have the bargaining chip. You bring the value. So you should always lead with that first. And that's why you see the pro fighters and they're complaining because they only get 2 fights a year and they're signed into some contract. They can't even get out of it. Nobody's putting them on a card.
It's interesting because, like, when we did that pro show, we really didn't have a lot of money, right? Like, we put everything into that one pro show. It was our first pro fight in our state of Arizona in, like, what, 40 years, 30 years?
A long time, yeah.
Some absurd number.
The community.
The first pro fight, and it was worth every nickel. But we couldn't really pay them what we wanted to pay them. But we bet on them. We go, you know what? We can't pay you what we can pay you, but we'll give you some tickets to sell. And you'll make your money on those tickets. $150 tickets a pop. Here's 20. And they made a couple G's. They come out pretty nice. We didn't have the cash value, but we gave them the ticket sales, and you know what? They sold, and they were very happy. I'm pretty sure they were sitting pretty with some cash before they even fought. Before they even sat down to fight, they were sitting with money. I was like, the ticket sales is a very important thing for a promoter.
That's a big model. That's a big model twist. So if you guys aren't paying attention, you better listen up.
Well, it's not just our promoter. Right there. It's any promoter. If it's a music promoter, it's whatever, a bowling league. It doesn't matter because the promoter's only going to walk away with the spectator tickets. The house usually takes everything else. Everything. So you don't get to touch food and beverage. You don't get to touch the little parking fees, the little ticket fees you don't get to touch any of that. You really only get a piece of your spectator tickets, and that's really where it's at.
Yeah, people probably don't even know that the food and beverage, the venues learned several years ago, that's where the money is. They keep it all. Like you can
F&B is big money.
Maybe even if you're at the lodge, they take the bar still.
And then they don't let you sell your own shit. No. On top of that, you can only buy their shit. So it's a interesting suggestion, but not accurate in my opinion. Moving on. Let's go to the next one. Reach out to smaller gyms who haven't yet had students compete. Now
who's going to do that?
How do I know they exist? How do I know they exist? My show, I'm blowing it out there. I'm putting it all out there. And how do I know these little gyms? They should be coming to me.
Right.
You know what?
Especially if you haven't competed, we have no idea who you are.
Where have you been? We're all over the place, and we've never seen your gym. So as a promoter, I think and this one was a good one. I thought it was a good one, but it needed to be retouched. I wouldn't say reach out, but I would say give them a shot. I would say give the smaller gyms an opportunity to compete on a show. And you build their gym that way, right? Because I know when we come back from a show and my guys did well or even not did well, it doesn't matter. We come back from a show, the gym's bussing at the next day. That next Monday, everybody's at the gym. Yo, we saw that fight. That shit was wild. Oh, you saw I got robbed. It's all the talk of the town, right? Like they're excited, and then it blows up your gym. When you put on a show, what are they doing before a show? Selling t-shirts. A gym selling t-shirts like fucking crazy. Apparel, all this shit. And then sometimes they get a cut of tickets. So you're helping gyms by giving them a shot. And I agree. I don't know that any promoter is going to reach out to smaller gyms. It's just not going to happen because I don't know they exist.
Can I give them the recipe? I mean,
yes,
I can give them. Let me give them the recipe. So if I'm you and you're a smaller gym and you have students who are competition ready but have not been in competition yet, make a sparring reel of high level sparring, showcasing their technique, their ability to go in the ring several rounds sometimes. I don't know if I would send all of that, but you would get a nice little bit of a sizzle reel for that athlete showing their ability, paired with I have 100 people or 75 people that have all committed to buy a ticket to the event if we put on Johnny, and here's his reel. And if you take a look at his reel, you like Johnny, and you know that we'll get behind your promotion with 75 tickets sold from our club, would that help to get a spot on your promotion? And 9 times out of 10, if you come that way, a promoter is going to have to definitely look at your offer, and that I think is a lot more successful route. And then they're going to know who you are, because then you come, Johnny wipes the floor with his opponent, you sold and oversold those tickets. So I would say undersell that number and then sell double the tickets that you said you were going to sell. They're going to be wowed by you and they're going to want you back again. So
Agreed. I you know, I like that. That works. Promote yourself as much as you can.
that's what a musician does, right? Same thing. They
You
need
gotta
to have their little demo reel. They need to show it to the venue if they're wanting to get a spot at the venue. They also want to know that they're going to bring some people. How many people are going to come out to watch you? Here's our following. Here's our local following in your market. That's very important.
There are
for
so
you
many
to show.
parallels to the way the music business works on the lower level, local level. So many
Absolutely.
parallels.
To the amateur Muay Thai scene. Absolutely.
Right. All right. So moving forward, a couple more. Physical posters for fighters to promote themselves helps fighters get their name out. I think that's nice. Although physical posters doesn't really, I didn't think it moves the needle, but hey, saturation, right, is what we need, you know? So a good promoter will do that. They'll give you a physical poster, they'll give you a digital, they'll give you, interviews with different media sources. They want you to put yourself out there and promote it. Again, promoter should be giving you the tools to promote yourself, and you can promote it, and that's what they do. Like, hey, look, you got to get out there. You got to freaking hustle this shit. You got to let everybody know that you're fighting. You got to let them know that you're going to win, or you got to let them, give them a reason to watch you, because we can say all we want, but if it comes from the source, it hits home a little bit harder. And the audience that's coming are the people that follow him, not us. The game isn't that big yet that they're following us, right? Everybody's bringing out their own set of athletes. So, physical posters is nice. It's just one of the things that you give. So I agree that physical poster, would help, but is it helping Muay Thai growth and development in the USA? Maybe.
I would add too that we've done that as a promoter. We printed large posters and would send them to the camps. And the issue is, again, it goes back to cost. And so, like, on an amateur side of things, if you're not sure that you have a commitment of sales of tickets from a particular athlete, and then I spend graphic design to crop your crappy photo that you sent in because all the random stuff that you see, and sorry, I don't mean to be offensive, but you guys see the posters where it's like 25 different color gradings, and they had to chop it out, and they have every 25 different belts. But at any rate, it's an expense. And
Right.
so if you're talking an 18 by 24, those are a couple dollars a piece, only if you bought them in bulk over above 100 units or 250 units.
Right.
And so there's a substantial cost. So if I sent, let's say, 25 posters to a club, that costs me maybe all in $5 to $10 a unit. And by the time I sent that out, that's a big, times 20 athletes, that's a huge expense all of a sudden. So if you're wondering why you don't see that more, it's because of the cost that's involved in that. So what we would do, and toward on some of the promotion side, is do a digital poster that you could then take local, print out, make it a no bleed, or also work with a bleed printer. So if you took it somewhere local like a FedEx, it would still look good, 11 by 18 or different sizes. So if you're a promoter out there trying to save some money on that side, pick a standard size that can be printed at a FedEx, like an 11 by 18, and make sure that it's okay and works with a bleed, because otherwise those local printers don't have, the ability to print to a bleed. It's also more expensive. And then get them a digital file that they can print locally.
Now, I'm just not sure, like nowadays, where are you gonna post these things?
At the gym,
like,
usually.
Well, high traffic areas
at
too.
the gym, your gym people should already know you're competing. So you're preaching to the choir there, That's a little difficult in, I'm trying to think of like the Shin Yun style, street
Shin
marketing.
Yun, our favorite.
Would go to every single place that exists, period. They don't care if you're like a hospice, if you're a funeral home. They're trying to get their shit on everything. I mean, they're also heavily funded.
With volunteers galore to go to all these businesses and hand out thousands of dollars worth of posters. So it's like you said, Tiago, it's a nice thing to have in the arsenal. Is it going to move the needle? Probably not.
Yeah, mostly the physical posters too. If you're a known name, you would put them up around the venue in a high traffic area that had high foot traffic. And that sometimes will get people to be like, oh, Muhammad Ali's fighting this weekend. Let me get some tickets to that. It's just another, actually 7 to 10 impressions are needed for all of you who don't know the marketing game.
I thought it was 20.
7 to 10 impressions before you potentially get a conversion. So that could be one of your 7 to 10.
Let's take a look here. Communicate better. Cool. I mean, I don't know what any of that means.
The irony of this one.
Oh, that's great.
Well, we're gonna move on with that because that just doesn't have enough information to communicate better what you meant. So we're gonna move forward. Mandatory title defense within 6. So I like this. This was kind of cool because when this is within the promoter's realm, and title offers and title defense is something we should discuss. There's a lot of promotions out there that, just literally give it away. Everybody gets a title. It's like Oprah at the freaking, you get a title, you get a title, you get an interim title, and you get a belt, and you get a belt, and everybody's got the belt. And the whole thing about the belt is that's supposed to be difficult to attain and hold. It's supposed to be rare. And if I could just pick up a diamond on the floor every time I reached over, nobody will want that shit on your finger. Well, what the fuck is that on your finger? You just get another rock? Take that off. It's hideous, right? Like, it's worthless. The reason that it's valuable, is difficult to attain. And I was very proud of the fact that we, as promoters for the Scion title, made it incredibly difficult. We had a whole set of rules by which people had to apply to even qualify for a title shot. And I did that for a reason. I was very aware that I'm wearing hats that have conflict. I could put myself in a position to give my athletes title shots on a regular basis. And I didn't want that. I didn't want for my show to be the Seton Gym show. And so we all created rules by which you can qualify for a title. And they were difficult. I think they were more rigorous than the WBC title rules. They were tough as shit. I think you had to have a winning record with over 15 fights to even have a title fight. National titles need to be two athletes of opposing states. They can't be within the same state if it was a national title. If you were a continental title needed to be from two different countries, and you need to reside there, and you need to prove that you reside there, and the competition needs to be 5 rounds and all this stuff. Same, 15 fights, winning record. Okay, you have to have a winning record with 15 fights.
That was to have a title shot at
That's
all.
just for the
Like,
title
not
shot.
just to defend too, but just
Then we had a whole set of rules for defense as well.
Mhm.
You lost it after 6 months if you didn't defend it. And so you had literally 2 shows to defend that title. And we were looking, you know, you have to be available. You lose the title. The other rule was, and we had world titles, and we only had a handful of world titles. I think we gave out maybe 5 world titles, 5 or 6. And that would be from a different continents, 2 athletes from different continents that reside in a different continent would have to compete for world titles. The only way you could get a world title.
That's probably one of the most valuable world titles that there has been in Muay Thai. So if you know,
At least
all
in
the
the
Siam Fight Production amateur world
Now-
title holders out there,
Now, the
kudos.
proof is in the pudding, because majority of our world title holders as kids are fighting on ONE FC right now. Tuzo Cruz,
That's right.
for the what's his name? The French kids,
The Mahmoudis.
Mahmoudis.
mhm.
There's 3 of them. There was one more, and I can't remember who. But there's, I mean, out of the 6, you got 4 in there. That's a testament to the caliber of
True.
world champions we had in our show. Right? Like, I was very proud. And a lot of the athletes that are cutting their name now, that are big names now, started on our show as kids. And I very much took the matchmaking seriously. I took it extremely seriously, to the point where we had arguments ourselves as promoters, because I would make matches that really weren't financially responsible. Because
we had words about this. We
did, and therein goes that like weird position, right, where we were like, we don't really have the money for this, but this match has to happen. But yeah, we don't have the money for this world title. We don't. This is not like a title that's we're actually gonna lose money on this show, on this fight, on this particular fight. We are gonna spend more money on hotel fees, the actual title itself, than what we were bringing in from ticket sales. And therein lies the problem, right? You're not selling tickets. And that was the last time I did it. I did 1 fight, Portugal versus China. Remember that fight? Portuguese versus, was it Korean? It was Korea? No, it was China. It's Korea? No, it's Korean kid. It was the Portuguese kid versus the Korean kid.
Yeah, Bujeon Park.
Yes, and then the kid from Lisboa.
Was the Mahmoudi? Was that Elias Mahmoudi?
Elias Mahmoudi. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
so
fighting there now. It's on ONE FC right now.
He's ranked. Yeah, he's ranked.
He's ranked.
190. That's what I was looking at. Yeah, flyweight, ranked number 5.
Very proud. And they were kids, by the way. This was a youth show, and we probably had better fights as youth athletes than we did for adult amateurs. And I'm very proud of that. Very proud of that fact that we kind of, I believe that we started them on that path of international competition and getting them exposed,
Giving them opportunities, and yeah, absolutely.
just knowing who they are, right? And so I really do think that can help. Title defenses, like moderating how you give a title.
You actually kind of got me looking back here, and I just pulled up our old rules document from the Siam Fights Live.
Oh,
we did have
Can you share that?
We did have a regional.
Oh, that's
title,
right. We did have a regional
right?
title,
and we had
Same
split.
state.
We had split the country into regions, and so to become a national champion according to our criteria, I'll read this verbatim. The topmost athlete in a particular weight division as designated, by Science Fights Live and among athletes of the same country, but of a different region, province, or political subdivision. So that was our definition of a national champion. So in other words, if you were, let's say you lived in Alaska, you couldn't compete against somebody in Idaho because that will be, it's the same Northwest region. You would have to compete against, for example, a California in the Southwest region in order to qualify for a national championship. So it was pretty hard.
And we were strict on those rules because we kept getting asked, right? We're like, hey, I want a title fight. I deserve a title fight. I'm like, I don't care what you deserve. These are the rules. And, you know, get a couple more fights under your belt and we will give you a title fight. If you really, like, we made those rules for a reason. I couldn't break them as the promoter of my own guys. Couldn't do it. I refused to because I didn't want my integrity questioned. And so, you know, those rules were very strict and they worked because the world title holders were bad motherfuckers. They were tough sons of bitches, man. As kids, under 18. That was impressive watching them fight. It's like, holy cow, like this is probably some of the best. It looks like a pro fight. That Portuguese kid versus that Korean kid. That Portuguese kid was getting beat up the first round. It came back for 5 rounds. And I think he won split decision. It was a very close fight. I think he even got 8 counted early on, and then he 8 counted the guy because the guy got tired at the late rounds. It was a great fight. Spectacular. Well, like perfect technique, like just flawless.
There's Janet Todd's on their site too. She's been in multiple tournaments, and
Janet Todd's one of our national title holders.
Yep. So she was atom weight Muay Thai world champion.
That was who it was. It was Janet Todd.
Yep.
That was the one I couldn't. I was like, man, there's one more. It was Janet Todd. It was the 2 French kids. And
I'm on the data analytics, sir. We're doing it real time.
You remember? I was like, I know there's a 4th one out of the 6. So, and then we had like these charts that we would publish, you know, the national champions, world champions, regional champions, and the date that they got their title. Like it was all public knowledge. And it was really good. So, you know, I agree with this person, whoever put this up, that, you know, yes, the title should be moderated better, in my opinion. So let's move on.
Make it hard. Makes it better.
I like it. Allow different vendors to sell at your event instead of Monopoly by Combat Corner. All right, that sounded like a personal dig. I don't know who that is, but
that's interesting and kind of funny.
Combat Corner is not the Monopoly at our tournament, which is
we do love Combat Corner. We're huge
fans. Let's play devil's advocate here. All right. So suppose Combat Corner is the Monopoly wherever this event is. You got to ask yourself, why is that? All right. What is Combat Corner offering the promoter, offering the event, bringing value to the event such that they're able to get that market position? So maybe Combat Corner is putting their money where their mouth is, wherever this event is that you're talking about, which gives them the position to have this, what you see as a monopoly, but perhaps it's them on the back end making smart deals and bringing value to the promotions, which keeps the relationship going. So maybe there's some of that there too.
Right. So reality is Combat Corner may be actually the reason why the growth and development of Muay Thai is happening, right? Like
exactly what we said earlier. The sponsors showing up with the cash is what helps put these events on. And I gotta say, Combat Corner has supported us for so many years. Dan, I can't say enough good things about Dan, his character, his work ethic. That guy is something else. And I just gotta say, I don't know that I've ever said that enough. And thank you to Dan for what he's done and all of the promotions that he's supported. Right. So for those who don't know, this guy puts up his gear, his time. You know, he travels around the country doing these things, and you know, but that is factually inaccurate. At our events right now, Muay Thai Addict would be our major sponsor for the U.S. Open. So I also want to give a shout out to Muay Thai Addict, who actually
very good to us.
Dimitri, They're you know, they've been our #1 supporter from very, very early on. They, you know, stayed with us. They're very loyal supporters, and we don't forget those kind of things. You know,
And the reason why you have a
and
clean canvas,
that's not right. And for those of you out there, you know, who aren't promoters, don't forget these people either. Like, these are the ones, these are the businesses who are putting it out there, putting their asses on the line to fund this little thing we do called Muay Thai. So when you
it
see
wouldn't
them,
go
right,
without them. It wouldn't happen.
seriously, like, guys, avoid like going to Amazon, you know, buying up somebody's stuff just because it's going to save you $20 or whatever. Like, really try to support the same logos and the brands that you see coming out to our events here in the States, right? So if you guys don't do that, then they can't turn around and they can't sponsor our events, and it's just one big circle and it just all comes crashing down.
yeah,
So, you
get
know,
your
this is
piggy
also a
bank,
message for you guys.
save all of your money in your piggy bank, break it open before you come out to the US Open and spend it at one of our sponsor booths.
It
Yeah.
comes back. It does come back around because it supports the sport, and that's how you end
wanna
up
help,
seeing more.
buy their shit at the actual event at the venue, and whoever else supported those shows, because you want those vendors to come back. It's actually super important that they come back.
Yeah, they spend a lot of money. People don't know. It just like the athletes, they have to buy flights, plane tickets, set up their vendor booths. You know, it's really important
And
that people
a
turn
tremendous
out.
risk too.
Yep,
Tremendous
yep.
risk.
So turn out, show up, you know, and again, thank you for, you know, not just saying that because, you know, you somebody might think, oh, you got to say thank you to your sponsors. No, guys, I'm saying these people, unwavering over the years, have been a staple. You know, Liquid Metal Concepts, like there's people that you guys might not know about. The first Siam ring that was ever built, friend of mine built, you know, and he built it, like you're talking $10,000-$15,000 worth of time and materials. People have really put a lot into it on the sponsorship side to make these things happen. So
Right.
we love our sponsors. That is near and dear to my heart for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they have, we would not be here without them. And I would say that, yeah, these people are tremendously important to the growth and development of Muay Thai in the US. They are funding it. They are funding these shows. You know, obviously there's a lot of funds that come through it, but this is super important that they continue to do that. And to say, oh, you know, it's the monopoly by Combat Corner. Dude, this sport is too small for any kind of monopoly. You got to be kidding me. You say, when you use the word monopoly, it's kind of a funny statement, because
I want to say maybe that's Dan that did that just to get himself.
you son of a bitch.
That would be funny, right? It's somebody just want.
But
like,
I mean, it's just kind of a silly thought. Like, who wants to monopolize this? You know what I mean? Like, this is like such a difficult venue to make money. Like, monopolize like the stock market, but not this. You know, and so yeah, I mean,
This probably just doesn't come from an athlete or, you know, a coach.
I don't know. I think, you know what, I think it comes from someone that's disgruntled about having them buy gear from Combat Corner at our tournament.
Or I think it might be coming from a vendor also who's just getting
could be a vendor
squeezed out, and they're feeling a type of way about it, and you know, but the economics of things is what it is, and
that's what it is. It's what it is.
If you're coming with the dollars, with the big check, yeah, you're gonna get what you want.
And yeah, you'll be the monopoly. It's just how it works.
Yeah, marketing is key. You got to market your products outside of the events. You got to get, get to your base. You got to hold on to your base. Right now, for all businesses, just on an aside, data is it's the most beneficial thing that you have. So if you're selling any products in the Muay Thai space and you don't own your own data, you don't have a CRM properly, we'll probably actually go over some of that at the combine that we're going to do at the tournament. But you got to own your data. You have to keep retargeting and remarketing to those people. And if you do that properly and you have a good product, chances are that you're going to rise up to that level. So
Yeah. Speaking of combine, I want you guys to know that this is, you know, what if you haven't heard what our combine is it's basically a combination of knowledge. That's what we're doing is we're creating a venue for different coaches, athletes, even fans to show up and learn about different things pertaining to Muay Thai, whether it be the rules, whether it be how to wrap hands, how to cut weight, how to run a Muay Thai business. You know, we have a lot of different things that we are doing. These are actually some of the topics that are actually going to be taught at the Combine. And these are just 90-minute workshops. And all we're doing is creating exercises where coaches will share their knowledge with you. It's not me or Ryan or Brandon dictating how it's supposed to be done. We're going to go up there and give you some facts. And then you are going to break out into groups and learn from each other. And that's the idea is, you know, I always had this thing where it's like, you know, the knowledge base we have at the US Open, just sitting in the room is greater than any one person can provide. One person cannot provide this much knowledge. But if we combine all of that, hence the combine, we get a lot more out of it. And everybody sort of wins, right? Like everybody, especially the one that knows absolutely nothing. Imagine you don't know how to play piano and Mozart just sits right next to you and go, okay, this is how you do this. And then Beethoven comes around and goes, and then this is how you play this. And then, you know, Chopin comes around and this is how you do this. And that's kind of the idea.
Tiago, what about the guy who took the cupcake and pulled the bottom half and stuck it on the top? If nobody got in the room with this person, they would have never known. That is the
way. But that's the idea, right?
It's open source, right? For all the
Open
tech geeks and
learning
lovers out there, it's as close to open source as you can possibly get.
And you don't need to be an expert. You can be a fan. You can be a dad, a mom. And if you're interested in signing up for that, the link is on our website. Just look for Muay Thai Combine.
And it's super cheap too for people who are not participating in the event.
For 90 minutes, and you can probably walk out of there more knowledge than any one person can do a seminar. And we're going to do this in perpetuity every tournament. It's free for all athletes and coaches that have registered for the US Open. So I really want to really push home how kind of cool this is. And these are one of the things as a promoter that we're doing to help grow and develop the sport of Muay Thai.
And so that your family, your friends, you know, your entourage, your people who are enthusiasts at your club that might not have, you know, they might have an interest in something, and, you know, like maybe it's wrapping hands or, you know, whatever that may be, they can find their place and have something to do to contribute to the team, because everybody, I think, wants to feel included in that experience. So
Absolutely.
Let me give you guys the lineup of what we're going to be debuting here at the fall championships here in November. So on the Friday, which is the day of arrival, the day of weight check and administration, we're going to be having a weight cutting module to go over safe and effective weight cutting strategies. And then the next module we're going to be having on that same day is judging and refereeing. So we had a commenter earlier wanting to have clarity about the rules and things like that. Well, here's a perfect opportunity.
There's an opportunity. I hope to see you there.
And what's really cool about that one is it's going to incorporate a little bit of a practical exercise where you will learn the essentials of judging and refereeing, and then you're going to actually use them to judge and referee like a basic sparring match. When you're
what they're going to do is, I think what Bob's going to do is show some fight video, and you're going to score them. And they're going to be like dilemma type videos, difficult bouts to score that are going to test your knowledge base. And how would you score this? This is going to be not an easy one. It's going to be a close fight. and you're going to go through their criteria, based on, and it's funny because he uses actually some of my guys, I think 2 fights with my guys in them as teaching fights, because they're so close sometimes that, we got to like sit there and go, all right, this criteria is even. What's the next criteria? This criteria is even. What's the next one? Well, he stumbled a little bit in round 3. Well, that's it. And that's the criteria, balance, because they're even on everything else. At some point,
that's such a great module. If you're a cornerman or if you're a fighter, you want to know what the judges and refs are looking for. And then if you can be trained in picking up these little minor details, imagine what it's like when you're in the ring and you pick up on it and you're the one competing. And you're like,
or
oh,
if you're Unk,
this.
what if you're Unk, bro, and little Timmy? Unk can show up to this and actually know more about the rules and the scoring than the cornerman. And
a lot of people in different sports do. A lot of like these stats people and these brainiacs, they're not necessarily in the game, but they know a lot about it.
That's what this is all about, as everybody in your club can come to different things, share this knowledge, share with each other, and we're all gonna rise together.
What's the next lineup?
Y crew. So you're gonna learn how to do Y crew, Ramoy. You're gonna have a really, really awesome experience there, creating your own custom pre-fight ritual. Hand wrapping is going to take place on the Saturday. Perfect timing, because if your hand wrapping sucks, you're going to have an opportunity to fix it and still compete.
And even learn from different techniques. If you know how to wrap hands, you might want to learn from a different coach and go, oh, I like the way you wrap that thumb. Oh, I like the way you work the pinky a little bit. Like it's even if you know what you're doing, it doesn't hurt to kind of give yourself some different techniques.
There's always something else to learn. So learning how to protect your hands. And then on Sunday, we're going to wrap with the Muay Thai business management module, give you tools and strategies to grow your gyms and to grow your businesses that are affiliated with Muay Thai. And that's just, just 5 modules we're going to debut for this next tournament. And then going to roll out some more for the spring tournament. We have some dates, but we're going to hold on to that for a little bit, and we'll tease that out at the right time. So, but there will be a spring 2025 U.S. Open Spring Championship. So just put that in your minds. We're going to be putting some information out there probably in the next 30 days or so.
We have dates, but we're not telling you what they are.
We're not going to tell you. We're not going to tell you. Just know that it's going to be in the spring, early spring. We'll just tease that. But that is the Combine for November. 5 amazing modules. It's going to be really, really cool. All
right, guys. Well, it's going to wrap. We've been here for an hour yapping your ears off, and it's been fun. And we'll see you, maybe next week, maybe not. I don't know. Depends. But I think we will. I think we're back on. It's been fun doing these, and we're getting to 30 now. 30 episodes. It's pretty cool. So we'll see you guys next week, same time, 7 p.m. MST. And see you next time.
Stay safe, y'all.